Does your conflict make you stronger or weaker? Weaker. We got a video. Hold up.
Long-term health of a relationship by whether each cut heals to 99% or 101%, i.e., does your conflict make you stronger or weaker? And there's this famous scientist, a professor called Professor John Gottman, right, who studied divorced couples and found the one thing that leads to divorce in relationship is contempt. If you're my partner and you go, come look at this out the window, and I just go, oh, fuck. That there is 15 years of unaddressed issues and expressed in a moment of contempt, right? Just that and that comes from poor communication for those 15 years where you haven't resolved the conflict. Right. And it's gradually made you weaker and weaker and weaker.
But she's actually showing him a skywriter saying, I want a divorce. You know, do you see that? Jeez, man.
Right.
You don't even want to look at a skywriter. It costs a lot.
All right. We're going to do this one a little different. We're going to start with Saira. Does your conflict make you stronger or weaker? What do you got to say about that?
I think it depends on, your situation, your environment, and how you grew up, your traumas. It can definitely make you weaker if you don't know how to deal with this situation, but it can also make you stronger, just like any situation in your life can. However, what I think of what he was saying, the unresolved issues that you have with your partner can definitely make you or lead to, it's kind of like when you have a discussion or something, an issue, and you don't talk about it, there's like a brick that is put into that wall, and then issue over issue is going to end up into a big wall between y'all. So that's something that really caught me on that video. That makes sense. And that's all I have to say.
All right. Trev, what you got?
All right, so yeah, that was a good point just made. But with that, you have it depends on who you are as an individual, right? Me and you could go through the same exact thing with two completely different outcomes, right? So we could experience certain traumas and then we could learn from it. We could get better from it. We could grow from it. But then for someone else, that same exact trauma or situation could devastate them to where they are no longer any good to society anymore. So it all depends on what type of person you are as an individual. Now, as far as in a relationship, how they were talking about with the contempt, I could see how that could be an issue, right? But it depends on what type of communicators you are, right? There's some people who you could be a great communicator, but if you are with a partner who cannot communicate well, there's nothing you can do, because unless you both can actually express your grievances, it's impossible for you to ever come to a resolution, right? And if you try to take something that they did and say, hey, well, listen, this is what, then every single thing they take offense to, they have to blow up on you for it, and they can't take constructive criticism, you're doomed. There's nothing you can do about it. So in some situations, it's best to just leave it alone, and hopefully you could be better for someone else. Because if one person is just not willing to move, or you just can't talk to them, they're like a brick wall, you're always going to have issues.
All right.
Totally agree.
Precious.
So I was cracking up because when they talked about the contempt and the reaction, that is given, it was like the guys were sitting there and it's like they had been there before and they knew exactly what, he was talking about. But it's like that thorn in your side when you don't communicate about things. Whenever that person talks to you or tries to communicate with you, it's going to be like, oh, what do they want? And that is just you or the other person, depending on who has the issue, not being able to confront the issue. A lot of times when you have issues in your relationships, you think it's you against the other person, and it's really both of you against the issue. And when you attack it that way, then you're able to get past it. But when you think that the issue is the other person, then you're going to be fighting each other. And the contempt is just going to continue to grow and grow and get bigger to the point where you're almost disgusted by that person and you don't want to be bothered by that person. But if you attack it with the notion that it's both of y'all against whatever the issue is, no matter who is having the issue, then you can get past it. I think that people just need to be honest with what's going on with them. I also always say that we need to expand our vocabularies. A lot of people just do not know how to say things. So for one, check yourself, check your tone, check the way that you're saying things, but expand, your vocabulary so you're able to communicate with someone without always using a 4-letter word.
All right. Lucki, let's get you in there.
I think that it can make you stronger or weaker based on how you have the conflict. Kind of like what she just said. If you have one person who's dismissive while the other person is expressive and you don't know what to give or what to withdraw from in that moment, also learning to pick your conflicts, that everything does not have to be a fight. I think that would depend on how you guys get stronger, because both people have to be willing, in my opinion. So like I said, if you're with somebody who's more expressive and you feel like you don't have time to deal with it, one of those things with conflict in relationship, I believe you don't get to pick and choose when you have to deal with it if you want a healthy relationship. If it's very important to the other person, I believe that it should be dealt with and there should be some sort of conversation. Now, once again, it depends on who you're having conflict with that will make you guys weaker, because you can't have one great communicator and another person that's a child in a sense. And I think that most of the time when people find themselves where men automatically say they don't like to express them feelings, there's always already some resistance there, because women are always going to tell you how they feel. So then if you get it to that point and they have the sense of trust, I think that can make you stronger. I think to have a stronger relationship outside of conflict, you have to know that the person that you're having the conflict with intentions is not against you, that your issue is really just whatever's happening in the relationship, in my opinion.
Indeed. All right. Israel, I'm going to change it to should. Should your conflict make you stronger or weaker?
Yeah, that's why I was gonna go with it, Trigger Mike, because my initial reaction would be like everybody else on the panel, like, it's up to the individual. But should your conflict make you weaker or stronger? It should make you stronger, absolutely. And the reason why is because you should understand, generally speaking, when people go through things together, it has the ability to bond them to each other, especially if they're able to overcome it, especially if they're able to get to the other side of it. So like Lucki alluded to earlier, it builds, if you put it in the right perspective, it could build trust with one another. Listen, I could depend on this person, I could rely on this person, and we could get to the other side of the issue or problem. So it should make you stronger in a relationship.
You got pushback, Precious?
Well, no, I don't have pushback, but it did say should. What I do want to say is your conflict is going to make you weaker before it makes you stronger. Just like when you're going to the gym, you're weak, and then you go through the exercises to get stronger. So I forgot to say that, but it's going to make you weaker. So you have to expect that.
Ooh.